Good evening everybody, Car and Bike here. Just headed through Leconfield behind Graham, Chronicles of Dot. I've not planned it, but I do have an idea of a subject, and it's to do with something that I was talking to a colleague about the other day. Something that actually happened a while back, it turns out, but well, it's to do with cars, and I don't really care about cars anymore, so didn't really pick up on it. 20 years ago, I'd have been all over it when I was a bit of a car nut, but you know, nowadays it's just another four-wheeled box, isn't it? Anyway, to get onto it, I'm going to go through a rather long and winding route, hopefully like tonight's ride, though hopefully with less blockages. Few diversions, you know, that kind of thing. Oh, I could take this analogy to so many levels, couldn't I? When I bought this bike, which was now nearly 6 years ago, well, actually it wasn't this one, to be fair, it was the one before it, but I didn't have it very long. But I was asked at the time, how did I want to pay? Which is an interesting question. I'll give you the money, I'll take the bike, is that okay? In the past, when I've bought cars and things in my youth, that would mean, are you paying cash, cheque, bank transfer, loan perhaps that you've got out yourself? But to them that would probably be a cheque, wouldn't it? Or do you want our finance deal? Because when I bought that bike, they didn't really mean that. I mean, those options were in there. You could finance it, or you could pay cash or whatever. What they really meant was a personal something or other thingy, P something P. My brain is saying PCP, but I don't think that's right. But a finance plan where apparently very, very popular. You buy your bike, except you don't. You lease your bike. You put down a couple of £1,000. You lease your bike for 3 years. An amount slightly lower than if you were paying finance, and then at the end of the 3 years you own nothing. So you either give your bike back, trade it in for another, or pay another chunk of thousands of pounds in order to actually own the thing. And you know, they don't do that for your benefit, they do that for their benefit. It's to get you to buy something that you can't really afford. Because if you could afford it, you'd probably pay for it, wouldn't you? Or you'd take the cheaper option, because finance might be cheaper and getting a bank loan is almost certainly going to be cheaper. You know, I know some people might be upset by the idea of that, but that's the reality. Now they'll sell you on flexibility, that you can change your bike more often, but actually if you own your bike, you can change it whenever you like. And they'll find any excuse to charge you more as well. I had another colleague who's left the company now, and he used to do this with cars. He used to get the personal leasing thing, and he would try and sell the benefits to the rest of the team of this lease plan he'd got, how he was only paying £500 a month for his Audi despite being 19 years old. And he, you know, at 19 years old he was driving a car that was clearly a status symbol. Talked about that in a previous video, so I'll go into that bit again. But he didn't own it, but he thought he was doing well up until the point where he decided he wanted to change the car halfway through the term, or actually just shy of halfway through the term. And to get out of it, he had to pay a fee to give it back before half of the term. So I think he was a year and a half into a 3-year lease. So they charged him a bit to give it back. And then they went round the car going, well, you've done too many miles here, and you've got a scratch there, and a little bit of wear and tear on the seat here. And he got lumbered with a bill for thousands. Because you don't own it, you know, you can't suck that up. A scratch on your car is an annoyance when you own it, but potentially not a bill, or maybe you'll fix it when it comes to sell it to increase the value of the car if it's worth doing. But on the leasing plans, not so much. Bit more of a headache. Anyway, by the by. We seem to be going into a new level though with these things. I've noticed recently more and more things are becoming either leased for that level of flexibility or whatever, or microtransactions where you buy something or lease it and then you spend a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, always to get a little bit extra, but generally in a way that it doesn't last. So I'll give you 2 examples, and I'd be interested to know your thoughts on these things. The first example is an advert I keep seeing on the TV. I think because it's in the middle of the Formula 1, because generally I try and avoid watching adverts by recording the programmes and skipping the adverts. You know, ad card, hub or pie hole don't work on the telly, do they? But because I'm watching Now TV to watch the Formula 1, I don't have that luxury. So I keep seeing this advert, and it's for leased bikes or a bike club. I'm not quite sure what you would term it, to be honest, but it's a subscription either way. And I'm not talking about this, I'm not talking about one of these, I'm talking about bicycles for children. When I was a youngster, I had many bicycles, and what we would do is we'd get a bicycle and it would last 5 years no matter what. That might be a hand-me-down from my brother, but more likely it was just that, you know, you bought one that was really on the limit of how tall it should be for your height, and then you would grow into it. I mean, the rate I grew, I've barely grown into this thing, and this is tiny, but you would grow into it, and then you would grow out of it again, and you'd start lifting up the handlebars and the seat and things until it was just falling apart or impossible to ride, and then it was time to get another bicycle, and you'd take yours down to the second-hand shop and flog it, and you'd buy a new one. But the plan that they've got for this one is a subscription service where you pay monthly for a bicycle, and you keep it for a certain amount of time and for your child, and then your child grows out of it after a certain amount of time, and you swap your bicycle for another one. Now, it's definitely not going to be that easy, but I haven't done my research, so I haven't checked into all the details. They're certainly not going to let you change bicycle every month, though, are they? But you have to pay this monthly fee, and I suppose it's a bit like a gym membership, isn't it? you keep on the bike until you get bored of it, but you probably carry on paying the membership anyway. That tends to be what happens with gyms, isn't it? Except with a gym, you're actually going somewhere and you're using somebody's equipment, and you're paying for their rent and maintenance and things like that. Whereas with these bicycle things, you're kind of not really. And I think that's one of the things that annoys me about this type of subscription service. I remember subscription services from my youth. I've even had subscription services up until not very long ago. But I remember that it was for things like magazines, where you'd pay your monthly money, probably up front for a year, but you would get something every month that was new. And as I say, you're not going to get a new bicycle every month. What you're actually going to get is probably a new bicycle when you first start, or perhaps not, because they're not going to throw these bicycles away, are they? They're going to be hand-me-downs in the club. So you're probably going to get old bicycle, but it's been refurbished and cleaned up and serviced a bit, and then, you know, a year or so later, when your kid's a bit older, you're going to get another old bicycle that's been cleaned up and serviced a little bit. But you could do that with a second-hand shop. With a magazine, you got a new magazine every month. Every time it's new, it's interesting, it's novel, it's more up to date. With a thing where you're keeping a bicycle for a year or two, what you're getting is a bicycle that is older and worse every month. And I was talking to, say, my colleague about this the other day, and he brought up something else that was the complete surprise to me. I wonder if it's a surprise to everybody else, or if I'm just out of the loop when it comes to cars. And that thing was the way BMW sell cars. I don't know if it applies to all of their cars, or just some of them. And I don't know if this is good or bad. I think it's bad on the same principle as I think all of these schemes are generally good for the supplier but less good for the customer. Because if you see this, anyway, you can go and you can get a BMW and you can lease it, and you can finance it, or you can buy it outright, all the ways you can buy any other car. But they've introduced this interesting thing of microtransactions, and the one that really got me amused was, well, I'll talk about a couple before the one that got me really amused. One of them that made me laugh was a microtransaction, which was to turn on a feature that exists in every car that they sell with this feature. So whether you buy it or not, the feature exists in the vehicle. It just doesn't work until you go online and pay your £100 to turn it on. It was, enjoy the sound of your vehicle. Your vehicle has a superb engine note, so enjoy it. And basically it pipes the sound of your exhaust or your engine through your stereo. I guess that the soundproofing is getting so good on cars to isolate you from the outside world that they've made this, what they say is a engine and exhaust that sounds good, but you can't hear it. So you can have that pumped through your stereo. And there were a couple of other kind of crazy things like that. I won't go into them all, I'll be here all night. But the one that really had me baffled was heated seats. So the car comes fitted with heated seats, whether you ask for it or not, but they don't work. So the heated seats are there, the feature for them is there. I would say the button, it's probably not a button, it's probably some kind of menu system somewhere, isn't it? But the heated seats, the elements, the electrical connections, everything like that is already built in. But it doesn't work. But you can subscribe to heated seats for so many pounds a month. I can't remember what it was, something like 25 quid a month. You can subscribe to heated seats. Now somebody pointed out that could be a good thing because you only use them in winter. So you know, you might not subscribe during summer. I don't know what the terms of the subscription are. It wouldn't surprise me if you have to pay a year in advance, or if paying a year in advance gets you a supposed saving that makes you happy with it. But yeah, subscription heated seats. So you're paying for heated seats probably many times. Because over a year, if you were to have them on a subscription for a year, it's a few £100. Over 2 years, maybe that's £500–600. What do heated seats cost? I bet a couple of cars came with them as standard. I don't quite understand why they have to have them as extras anyway. But basically what they mean is they're putting all this kit in your car, and you've got to carry it around and probably pay extra petrol to cover the weight of it. But you can't use it unless you pay a subscription. Now, maybe I'm just old-fashioned, so I ask you to tell me in the comments if I'm just old-fashioned or plain wrong, or maybe there's a superb idea for this I don't understand yet. But these are things that you've clearly bought. You know, the cost must be factored into the purchase price whether you subscribe or not. So they're actually just restricting your access to something you've bought. Anyway, the thing that made me really laugh, really enjoy it, is they've already worked out how to hack them. I mean, it's a couple of years old now anyways, I think, that they started doing it, but very quickly people learned how to hack them. So like most things on a car that are there but turned off, you can actually get into the computer and turn it on yourself. So you can get the heated seats, and there's about another dozen features that you can have turned on in software in your car. I don't know. Am I just a sad old fart who doesn't understand the modern world? Or were my parents right when they taught me that you only buy things you can afford? You don't have credit or loans unless it's for emergencies or a major purchase like a house or maybe a car. And that generally speaking, renting, hiring, leasing is a bad idea. What do you think? Tell me how stuffy I am in them comments. Anyway, thanks for watching everyone. Ride safe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.